views and opinions presented are those of the guest presenter. Real News Australia does not offer any health claims or medical advice. Always consult with your healthcare professionals before making any changes to medications or lifestyle. Welcome friends to Real News Australia for this special series that seeks the truth about vaccines and vaccine injury. We talk to fellow Australians that have lived with vaccine injury and allow them a voice. Our second interview in this series is Sheryl, a former Queensland Government employee that was encouraged by her former employer to vaccinate. And this is her story.
Well, I work for a Queensland Government organisation.
Yeah, we won't say who it is.
Yeah, no. And in that, there's a lot of people coming from overseas, a lot of kids, stuff like that. I was working in that environment, and the swine flu, it was.
So this is back when the H1N1 was being ramped up.
2010, yeah. April the 16th, 2010, I'll never forget it. Okay. And all the way up to getting that needle, I was so hesitant, but it was getting pushed in our faces basically about getting the needle. So
you had it from the media and in the workplace as well?
Yeah, the workplace as well.
They're really saying you should get it?
Yeah, and the reasoning is because we have kids coming through. Mm-hmm. We have overseas visitors coming through. We don't want to spread it, so we want to make sure that we're doing the right thing by them. Mm-hmm. So you think about all these things and you're inclined to go, you know, stop thinking about yourself. Think about other people. Mm. So that was where I was at that stage. And when I finally ticked all the boxes and signed my name, mm-hmm. I still wasn't, it didn't sit easy with me. And right up until the moment I actually got the vaccination, I was still feeling hesitant. And it, the thing is, I was hesitant for a reason.
Yeah. So they came to the workplace to do this?
Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. And how long after that H1N1 shot did you start having some real...
Okay,
talk us about that.
I remember I came into work the next day, and I remember the first things was I was getting, like these noises that I was, and that was going on for about a few days, and then I started squinting. Yeah, it was like, and I'm walking around going, why am I doing this? And people are asking me the question, Sheryl, why are you squinting? And I'm going, I don't know. And I remember we had a meeting that day, and I'm going, I'm not feeling all that well. And I decided the next day I was going to go to the doctor. I went to the doctor, and of course they give you antibiotics to fix that. Oh, it was my sinuses. That was the problem.
Oh, right.
My sinuses. So I took the thing around of antibiotics, and no different. Mm-hmm. It was getting worse. Mm-hmm. And I'm going... And it was like a slow process it got to the stage where I wasn't able to drive. My eyesight went really funny. I had what they call blepharospasms all around my eyes where I couldn't open my eyes properly. I had to have Botox for that.
Wow.
I went through a very heavy depression right through this, especially when I went to a neurologist, and I'm paying out thousands of dollars to go see all these specialists to get myself better, because prior to that I was a real sports fanatic. I played basketball even when I was in my 50s. I was playing basketball 3 times a week.
Wow, okay.
So that's how active I was, and I was just planning to go on my long service leave, because I'd been at this place for 15 years. Mm-hmm. Just planning to go on my long service leave, and everything happened.
Everything went pear-shaped.
Yeah. So in the process of all that, I had to use all my long service leave to be sick. Yeah. So that's my holiday gone.
15 years of work, and you've used all that time saved up and recouping from an illness which you're really struggling with still.
Yeah,
to this day.
and then at the end of the day, when that was all finished, my workplace said, "Oh, we can't find a place for you now. So you've got to make a choice here. You've got to take your super and run, basically."
Wow.
So, and I had to make a choice within a week to decide what I need to do.
Now, just interject, Donna, you've known Sheryl prior to getting the H1N1 vaccine in 2010.
Absolutely.
And the difference between now and then?
Oh, still noticeable.
Yeah.
But she's made great progress.
Yeah.
But
you can attest to the fact that Sheryl was nothing like what she is now.
No.
Before that.
Absolutely. She's as she said, and we both met through basketball. So I played against Bucky for a few years, and we both active, both competitive, energetic. She's very, very involved with her kids and her grandkids, and they're all sporty, and life was just flowing as it does. Right. But everything came to a screeching halt once.
Post 2010.
Yeah,
post the
definitely. She just disappeared.
Wow.
Off the face of the earth. And then I can still remember when we had a ladies. We both competed in a ladies basketball competition, and we always have an end of year function. And we hadn't seen Bucky for a while, and she came to that function. And it was really emotional because we could all see how she'd been affected by it. Yeah, she was very emotional.
Did she tell you about it then?
We all knew that she had suffered from this reaction.
Yeah.
And
what did you think when you heard that first story that was a result of the H1N1?
Oh, just completely shocked and devastated for Bucky, because I know the sort of woman she is, and I know how energetic and full of life and
she
positive.
She still is full of life. I've only known you for a few minutes, I can attest to that.
Yes, but she was in a really bad place, and she was really unwell. And, these neurological problems that she was experiencing, it wasn't something that she could just get over. It wasn't a matter of just thinking positively about it. It was, she had a serious medical issue that she had to try and overcome. And that particular day, it was really emotional for everybody, because they could see the change in her, and they could see the way she was struggling, and she could hardly talk. And this contraction of her jaw and her eyesight and just physically, she just looked like a shell of herself. Yeah, completely. Yeah. It was very sad to witness, because of the fact that we know who she is.
Now, would you be able to maybe run off some of the ones that you have, like you have autoimmune issues?
Yeah.
Yeah. You've had like physical issues with your
swallowing. Swallowing.
Have they actually physically diagnosed you with certain conditions from? Yeah. What were they?
To do with the brain.
Yeah.
The brain reacting to the rest of your body, and basic. What is it? It's like a
palsy. It's not palsy.
Well, when it first happened, right now, I had like cerebral palsy movements in my body.
Wow. Okay.
And I had like electric shocks down this side of my body, right into my feet.
So thoroughly affected the nervous system.
My central nervous system. What I was told by one doctor, who probably wouldn't say it out loud, was that my myelin sheath was attacked, and it penetrated through my myelin sheath into my cells, where the cells and that started eating.
I've actually researched that, and I've heard that that's what happens. Yeah. That is incredible to know that that actually physically happened to you.
So.
What would you say to anyone out there who's even something as simple as the flu shot in a workplace? What would you say?
About educating yourself, knowing, they write all these names down in scientific names. They don't tell you the what it is in English, like layman's terms, and that's where I struggled. That's where I didn't know the actual ingredients. One of the ingredients was mercury. Now, I didn't know that. And I've known for a long time what mercury can do to your body.
Mm-hmm.
But if I had saw that word mercury, I definitely wouldn't have had that shock. And it was the mercury. I've got an overload of mercury in my body now, which is actually instilled in my brain.
Yeah.
So when I actually got the shot, it went course into my arm, up through my spinal cord, into my cerebral side of my brain. And this is where it's all stuck in my brain, and now I have a problem with my speech because my brain is actually not connecting with the other muscles in my body.
So your advice to someone else who worked in the government,
Yep.
even if they were in childcare or
Yeah.
a school, a teacher, anyone in that position, what would you say to them if they were asked to get a flu vaccine?
One thing I would say is don't put down the anti-vaxxers because they're actually doing the research. They're the ones who are trying to look out for everybody. So don't put them down. What you need to do is look at the whole institution of vaccinations and educate yourself. You need to be more proactive instead of thinking that whatever is happening has got nothing to do with you. Sometimes, we sit on a fence and we let other people make choices for us. We've got to stop that. We've got to take the action into our own hands.
Well, you've got other family members.
Yep.
You have quite a few family members, is that right?
Yeah.
Siblings?
There was 10 in my family.
There was 10 in your family,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So have any of your siblings had any reactions as well to anything?
Yes.
Yeah. Can you tell us about them?
I've got my oldest sister. She got the same swine flu injection as I did.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got a sister that's a year younger than me. She got that same flu injection, and both of them didn't react the same way as me, but they got a bad reaction. My older sister went through about 6 weeks of heavy depression, and then my younger sister, she was ill for about a year with that same vaccination. And her children actually thought that they were going to lose her.
Wow.
So
And she now...
she has improved a lot,
Yeah.
but they know they know the feeling of they're now not in control of their own bodies when this happens. Your brain's not working the same way it used to, what your body is used to. It's different now.
Yeah.
My life has turned around severely.
Would you say that you've had... you're on social media, you use social media.
Mm-hmm.
How about yourself,
Mm-hmm.
Dana? Do you use...
Yeah.
Yep, so you're on... Would you agree that people, like you said, don't put the anti-vaxxers down, right?
Mm.
Look, we don't really like using that term, but I mean, we'll just
Yeah.
use that term as
Yeah.
it is,
Yeah.
as it stands.
Yeah.
Would you say that you probably had more support and encouragement and information from the anti-vaccination groups and people than you have from either the pro-vax side or the government, for example?
Yes, all I hear from the government and the pro-vax side is that,
Safe and
the
effective.
anti-vaxxers are, they're silly and they're stupid and they're not thinking about other people. That's what I get. But from the anti-vaxxers, we get more information like how this is all working in your body and what you need to do to look after yourself. And then they go, like it's all about healthy living now. With the anti-vaxxers, they actually direct you to different organisations to look into it a little bit further.
So there's quite a large support network there
Yes, there
in place
is.
already.
Yes.
Yeah.
The homeopaths that not just one of them, all of them, have actually said I have had a form of Guillain-Barré. Not the way it affected me. It affects most people from the feet up. It was actually around my throat area, and that was their diagnosis. So I've had a nephew who's had Guillain-Barré. He was nearly died from it, and I did ask he's my great nephew, and I did ask my nephew whether he'd received a vaccination, and he couldn't tell me. So
he wouldn't tell you, do you think?
He couldn't tell me because him and his partner were separated.
Oh, okay.
So he doesn't know whether he had had the actual vaccination, but what I've researched is Guillain-Barré is part of the
it's a definite side effect listed.
Reaction,
Your background, your history, you're an Indigenous Australian heritage, is that correct?
I'm a First Nations person.
Yep.
I'm a Cubby person from the Sunshine Coast area.
Right. Do you think that a lot of Indigenous Australians have been affected by vaccination as well?
Yes, I've done research on that actually, and back in 1979 they had a H1N1 vaccination that was distributed through the Western Australia area, and the amount of Aboriginal people who actually died in that time alone through the vaccination. And I've got documents on that. And when I saw that, I went, as a cultural person, you think about your DNA and you think about...
Is that a reason why it's affected you think?
Well, I believe so, because with our DNA, it's not as, if you think about it, the European DNA, okay, their body is so used to, and through centuries, have grown immune, Our bodies still are finding that immunity, and it's just like alcohol with cultural people. It doesn't suit them. So vaccinations, definitely not.
Yeah. So they're trying to say that vaccines are a one-size-fits-all, a band-aid solution to spreading disease and so forth.
No.
You agree with that?
No. It's every
person's different.
Every person is
every
different.
person reacts differently.
And me, I'm thinking about my cultural side here now. My sisters, they're all Aboriginal. They're all reacting in these strange ways. So
there's a link there.
There is a link.
Yeah.
There is a link. And I think within the Aboriginal communities, they really and truly push the vaccination onto everyone. If you look at all of the medical centres that are connected to the Aboriginal and Torres Strait, the thing about vaccinations, it's very widespread. And you know what? People, again, are sitting on that fence. People still aren't educating themselves. So we need to be able to look at the two sides of the story.
Interesting, yeah.
What I think is the government is pushing to the degree where they're saying kids can't go to preschool. Kids can't go to school unless they're vaccinated.
We've got the no jab, no pay, no jab, no play.
That's right.
We've got all these laws in place that are coercing people into vaccination. Yeah.
And is that a freedom of rights? It is a freedom of rights issue. And people are succumbing to this human farming. It's a government-made thing.
Did you were you given, you said you went to other specialists and neurologists, and so there's a lot of downstream flow-on effect because of this.
Yeah.
So you've got other specialists involved, possibly other medications involved. I think you said you had to...
They tried to, but I wouldn't take them. I went all natural.
Yep.
Everything I'd done was all about getting my body back into shape. Homeopaths and natural therapists.
And do you think that's helped you a lot?
It has.
Yeah.
There was one fellow. Went into a chemist one day, and I was walking and I was looking at some stuff. Went in to get some items, and he walked past me, and he said to me, I know what has happened to you. And I said, yeah, what's happened to me? He said, you've had a vaccination, haven't you? And I went, yes. He said, when you're ready, he gave me his card. He was a homeopath, naturopath. He said, when you're ready, come back and see me.
He identified it just from looking at
He
you.
identified it as soon as he saw me.
Isn't that amazing?
And that's because my head was shaking a lot at that stage. Right. I had they were trying to diagnose me with Parkinson's disease. And because my head was shaking a lot, and that was to do with what I was going through, I went in there, he'd done a full heavy metal test on me. All of the mercury was the highest on the list, of course, and then aluminium.
Right.
So,
which is an adjuvant in vaccines.
That's right, yes. Yeah. So he then worked on lowering those levels, which he did, and then I've been now promoting a lot of healthy natural ways of getting myself better. And I always say to people, I'm 98% better now. I'm just looking for that 2% to get me 100%. But it's all through natural.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you've come a long way and I think you can probably attest to that as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. From where she's been to where she was to where she is now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm even looking forward to maybe going back and having a game of basketball.
Oh, good, that'd be wonderful.
And we're looking forward to having you.
I'll be a bit slower.
Oh, we're all slower, Bucky. We're all slower.
Thanks, ladies. I think we might.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we've got so much out of that. Yeah. Oh, guys, thank you so much, ladies. That's really good.
Thank you.
I think that'll help a lot.